All right, guys. This is freaking take 5. We're drinking Jack Daniels. We got the mask on here. All right. Let me get my link out here to the followers. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry, my friends. I'm not going to talk the whole damn time. I'm just trying to get this out here. Don't worry, my friends. I'm not going to talk the whole damn time. What are we talking about? The frickin' market's down 10% today. Oh, yeesh. This is what I think we can do. And listen, I want you guys to pay attention here. This opportunity, in my opinion, we have the opportunity right now to make a whole lot of money, all right? If you're into buying options or you're into trying to nail the bottom, or you got to have cash on the sidelines. That's the big thing right now. If you don't have cash, then this video is probably not for you. I don't know what you're going to do. Just kind of sit down there and take a beating. I'm going to give you my timeline for the next 2 weeks. I live in the United States. I'm on the East Coast, and I'm actually in a hotbed for corona. Right now on the East Coast, there's not that many cases of corona, but the area that I live in just happens to have quite a few. In the Philadelphia area, today Philadelphia has 45 suspected cases, but in my county specifically, we have confirmed, I believe, 15 cases. That's confirmed. Now, obviously, throughout the nation, there's a lot more than 15, but we are one of the first to confirm it. And my nation, or my county, is taking it very seriously. I will say that. They're shutting down gyms, daycares, schools, all public gatherings. They are taking it very, very seriously. And in my opinion, these quarantine measures will work. I do not think we're going to end up like Italy. I do not think we're going to end up like China. But I do think it's a very serious situation. But I think these quarantine measures will work. Now, everything's getting absolutely hammered, okay? Tomorrow I'm going to talk more about commodities, uranium, aluminum, oil. These things are literally at lifetime lows, some of these companies that make these commodities. I don't know if it's time to buy, but I know it's time to start looking just to get ready when the opportunity to buy arises, okay? Now, the next 2 weeks, this is what I want you guys to be aware of, okay? This is the timeline that I see happening. The United States has recently increased its capability of coronavirus testing, okay? Before this, they weren't testing at all, and we're already seeing the market down 30%. So what you're going to see over the next 2 weeks is the number of cases of coronavirus is going to skyrocket. That's not because the situation is getting that much worse. Okay, it is getting worse because people are still spreading it, but it's not going to get as bad as the numbers seem because we haven't been testing. And now we're starting to test. So the numbers of confirmed cases in the United States is about to go way up. But it's not that the situation is any worse than it is right now. So the numbers going way up, what's that going to do? People are going to seriously start panicking. They're panicking now, okay? Grocery stores are already wearing thin. I went to my local store. There's no toilet paper. There's no paper towels. There's no meat. So I think the numbers are going to get way worse. But people are going to realize, okay, the numbers got way worse, but maybe this isn't the end of the world. Maybe we are going to survive this. Maybe it's bad, it's a shitty situation, but things aren't going to totally collapse. If that happens, what you're going to see is you're going to start seeing headlines on CNN, on Fox News, on MSNBC. Coronavirus cases per day is dropping. That's what you'll see if the quarantine measures are being effective. If that happens, I believe you will see a major bounce in the stock market. That doesn't mean it's permanent, but it's something to consider. At that point, the stock market could already be down to 19,000. Today, I believe it closed at 21,100. I'm not exactly, don't quote me on that. 200. 21,200.62. Okay. So if you see the quarantine measures are taking into effect, you see the panic subsides, you're going to see a bounce. Where it goes from there, I don't know. That could be 2 to 3 weeks away. And right now, things are changing by the minute. So I'm not even going to speculate where it goes from there. But that could happen, and I want you guys to be aware of it. If you are buying put options like I am, I own Virgin Space Exploration put options, and I own Disney put options. I've been buying Carnival Cruise Liner put options for the past 6 weeks. I've exited that position. I should have made much more money than I did, but this is kind of my first go around when it comes to options. But I still made some money while the market dropped 30%, so I'll consider that a win. Expect the market to bounce back. Where it goes from there, we don't know, because that could be 2 to 3 weeks away, and right now things are literally changing by the minute, so we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But if you start to see headlines getting more positive because the quarantine measures are working, I would suggest maybe considering buying some call options, because right now call options are going to be very cheap, and you could make a lot of money. Now, what's the other possibility of situation? Much more bleak. Much more bleak. Okay. As you know, and as you should know, the Federal Reserve has been running almost daily repo emergency operations. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know the fundamentals behind a bond market and all that things, the Federal Reserve, lending banks. All I know is that repo operations are providing emergency liquidity between lending banks, and that's been going on since September. That is not a good thing. That is not a good thing at all. You don't want to see that. That was going on before a 30% drop in the stock market. Okay, a 30% drop in the stock market is going to stress out banks a lot. If you have emergency repo operations, which is providing emergency liquidity before a 30% drop in the stock market, what does that tell you? These banks are not in a good position right now. This is all speculation. They could be totally fine, okay? But what you need to keep an eye on is headlines involving banks struggling. If you see any headline about a bank that's struggling to make ends meet, which you could, okay, I'm going to read a little bit of this article right now on Zero Hedge, and I know people have their thoughts on Zero Hedge, but sometimes I think it's worthy of a read. If you see a headline on a bank struggling, that means things could possibly get much, much worse. All right, I'm going to read the first paragraph here. Zero Hedge, bazooka fired. Fed unleashes 1.5 trillion repo bailout, expands not QE to QE5. Thursday, March 12th, 1:55 p.m. After increases in its repo facility twice already this week, from 100 billion to 150 billion to 175 billion per day, and added a new 1-month term repo facility, the New York Fed just stunned the market and fired its biggest bazooka since Lehman. Not coincidentally, just moments before today's 30-year treasury auction as a failed auction would mean, well, game over. By announcing a total of $1 trillion in 3-month repos over 2 days. 500 billion today, 500 billion tomorrow, as well as an additional 500 billion in 1-month repos offered weekly, which means up to 3 trillion in cumulative repos if fully allotted, may be online by the end of the month. I know Zero Hedge has a knack for the doomsayer crowd, and they tend to elicit a sense of panic. But this is something to be, this is serious. This is very, very serious, okay? It sounds to me like the banks are having this very considerable amount of liquidity issues, which would mean if they fail, if there's not enough liquidity, then you get a credit freeze, which means literally the whole market has pretty much come to a freeze. If that happens, all bets are off. You would think the stock market would drop an additional 30% from there, but I mean, that's, again, I'm just totally spitballing here. I don't know. That's what I'm telling you. I don't know, but this is something to keep an eye on. And basically, I wanted to stream tonight to tell anyone that sees this, there's some things you need to keep an eye out. 1, keep an eye out on quarantine measures working and the headlines getting more positive. If that happens, you can count on a stock market bounce. I'm not saying that stock market bounce is going to hold, but I'm saying it's going to bounce if that happens, and you could make a lot of money on short-term call options. Or plan B, banks start struggling because, as you can see, they are in serious need of liquidity. The Federal Reserve is pumping $500 billion. That's $500 billion a day for liquidity. Who knows, man? There might be a bank out there that crumbles. If one bank goes down, it's like it can be a house of cards, and the rest can go. I hope not, but honestly, what we're going to do here is we're going to trade the market we got, and we're going to try to make money no matter what. I'm stocked up on supplies. I got food, I got rice, I got medicine, masks, like I was joking around earlier. I know it's a joke, and people want to laugh at me, but maybe I'm a paranoid freak. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. All I know is I'm trying to make money either way. That's why we're here, right? We're here to make money. I'm not lying about it. I want to make money. Keep an eye on those two things. Positive headlines because the quarantine measures are working, and banks struggling. Those are the two things that I think it's going to go one way or the other. We're right now, we're in a very volatile situation. Something could happen. Something new could pop up. A war, that's totally in question. You know, somebody literally might start a war to save themselves if they think their country's on the brink of collapse. I don't know. But that's it for now. Tomorrow I'm going to be back. I hope you guys join that stream. I'm going to stream and I'm going to talk about actual positions that I might start considering. I'm looking at commodities, oil, aluminum, uranium, mining companies. These things are literally at all-time lows, and they're not going away. The need for copper is not going away. The need for aluminum is not going away. Uranium, oil, these things are here to stay. I don't give a fuck about Tesla. They can fucking go away. I don't care. We're going to need oil for a while. But that's the stream for the day. Don't stress out. You know, this was bound to happen. The U.S. CAPE ratio was at some absurd value, like 32, 33. I saw this happening. I didn't act as drastically as I should have, but, you know, I'm only 30, which is a cop-out. It is a cop-out. I'm sorry, but it's all right. We'll do better. I love you guys. I don't know if I'm going to get a single view on this, but either way, peace out. Keep an eye on those things.